All right, ladies. Let me talk about the why behind this meetup. So obviously we started talking a bit before the recording started. I lost my grandma. Now my grandma is like ride or die for me. So that was a real hit. I've never experienced any bereavement for anyone so close to me. This felt like my first experience into grieving. When I saw what happened with George, I thought, oh my God, this needs to stop. I literally said, this shit needs to stop now. And this can't be happening on my watch. And I think why I messaged you lot is because I felt like I've been here before. I was like this when I watch When They See Us. And I remember saying to myself, when after I watched it, not on my watch. Not on my watch. This can never happen. And then life happened. And I'm still bubbling underneath, but I wasn't as passionate, wasn't as energetic. So when this happened again and I was this angry, and I said to myself, you cannot keep getting angry and making your anger trend. And then life gets back to normal and then we carry on. Because guarantee something's going to happen again. Almost as if we've been re-traumatized every few weeks. Something's going to happen again. And you're going to get this very intense feeling. And this is why the change is not sustained. So I said to myself, listen, I've been thinking about having these different kind of conversations about different things. But I want everyone, whatever topic I'm talking about, I want those people represented. So I never want to sit in a space where I'm talking for someone or I'm talking about an issue and I can't be the representative or representation for that issue. So anything I want to talk about, I need to create a table and bring those people to the table and they talk for themselves. Because we're always saying, oh, Black people, we're not monolithic. But then sometimes we are talking as if we're talking for all Black people. So I feel like we're saying one thing, but then we're doing the opposite. Because if I'm saying that we're not all the same, why is it when we're talking as if I'm talking for my race? Because we've been socialized to do that. But we need to change that. So this is the table, and this is why you all have your seats. We're different. We have different views on certain things. Even with the whole Black movement, we may want different outcomes. I may want something different to what Jodie would want. Jodie will want something different to what Hadjo will want. But at least we can all agree that we want one thing. We want change. Yeah? How are you lot feeling? Just on the surface, what's on top? Like, genuinely, how are you feeling? Gonna start with Natalie.
I've gone through a rage of emotions, just like literally. I've gone from sadness, not even being able to put my head on the pillow, just scrolling through everything and reading as much as I can. I'm like, why am I'm just mad binge watching this crazy stuff. And then I just felt angry. And then I even went on Twitter, and I don't even have a Twitter account. Found myself on Twitter in my school, at my children's school. Like, what have you done lately? Got some
we noticed because we saw the ad in the group.
Got some interesting replies, and then I was like, actually, I can't even respond to you because if I say what I really want to say, I need to really think about this. And then got up today, and my friends messaged me and they were going on a protest, and it was a children's protest. And me and my partner spoke about it a lot. The thing is, we've always spoke about race relations and things that are going on because we are a Black couple, we have Black children, and we live in Dulwich, just to say the least, South London, we live in London. And obviously, as the time's gone on, the face of everything has changed. Being a South London girl my whole life, it's not changed. And now it's almost like the green light as people have been able to say things that they couldn't say anymore to your face. And having children now, it's next level stuff. You start thinking, hold on a minute. When my kid asks me certain questions and I have to look at my child and say, because they're white, son. Like, straight. I'm not going to lie, I have to give it to them straight. Like, I can't even mince my words with my children because I always said I want to be real with my kids. I don't want to send them into the world feeling blinded or not understanding, because I grew up maybe a bit more blinded. I think maybe my mum's generation being second generation here, they kind of conformed. They rose up and they had little riots, but they kind of more conformed to everything. So I was like, no, man, I got to tell them what it is. I got to tell them where they come from. They got to know what's good. And yeah, today I just felt like I'm not standing out in the rain just to put my fist up. Because what's gonna happen? Because what are we actually doing that for? Does anyone know why? Why are we doing it? Are these people that have put us in this oppression going to wake up and say, okay then guys, let's give you your rights today? Because I don't even think in my personal mind's eye, I don't know in my heart, this is where my head's at today, as I don't even think we know what we want from them. That's what my God's honest truth. And I don't think we can get it from them. I don't think we can get it from this country. I don't think this country can give us what we require, because this isn't home. That's how I feel now. I feel like we have to change our whole mindset and think we need to start producing things where we need to be, because this land ain't sufficient for us. It never was in the first place. So why are we fighting for something? Are we going to go to North Korea and tell King Jong, you know what, we're coming to take your country over? Are we not? He ain't going to have that. So why do we think it's going to happen here? It was never home for us. So that's where my head's at today. I mean, it might change tomorrow and I'm out there protesting, but as it stands, I'm thinking I've got to fix me and my household and pave a way so that other people can find a better place, because this isn't it. I know that in my heart and my soul, I don't feel connected to it.
Wow. Natalie,
I don't feel connected to it. Yeah, that's how I feel.
All right,
I want to drink some wine. Yeah. Look at that.
That's a lot. Some things I resonate and vibe with. Some things I don't connect with as much, because I feel like that's the problem. This sense of disconnection, of not belonging, or I don't connect here. But I think that's even a conversation maybe for later or another day. But that's something I think a lot of people feel, and I think, but that's what I want to change. But there's some things, but I hear what you're saying, and I get that feeling. But oh God, I can see it's gonna be a lot. Okay, I'm just gonna go according to my screen. Yeah, Jodie, what's going on with you today?
I think that for me, like, you guys obviously don't know my journey, but I've definitely been here before. I think that like around 9-10 years ago, when it was definitely not cool to be woke, I was woke then, because that's when I left the church and I started to research and I started to like dig into history, and there was a lot of things that I found out about the world that I wasn't happy with, and I was convinced that I had to change it. I had to be the person to do that. And so I set off on my journey and I tried to achieve that. But I think Stephanie said it earlier, like after going through the motions so many times, you sort of become desensitized, and it does become a part of your normality. That is your new normal. So I think that for me, I've been like the last couple of years of my life, I've literally just been coasting, because sometimes it's just so much easier, because you know when you're like having to carry the whole load all the time, and then you realize that you can put the load down, and then afterwards you just don't want to pick it up again. So I feel like that's exactly where I was, and I don't think there's anything so significant about this particular murder that has made me like spring into action. I think it was literally just a case of circumstances. In this case, like, we're all at home, we know that there's injustices happen. I'm dealing with racism on a regular basis. Like, I'm fighting with the authorities at my son's school because they're trying to criminalize him as usual. Like, I'm having to instill him with certain things that children really shouldn't have to be dealing with. But obviously Black children can't just be relaxed, they can't just keep their innocence. We have to take that away from them, because that's how we prepare them for what the outside world has to show them, you know. So I've been dealing with that, and I've just been completely like covered up in all of that. So I think that it just happened that we're all here, coronavirus is happening, there's death, there's grief, everybody's on edge, everybody's feelings are sharpened because they're having to pay more attention now, you know what I'm saying? There's less distractions. And I feel like this, when I saw that the way that people were responding to it, and the way that people were like, no, like, you know what I'm saying, like, let's stop this. I definitely wanted to be a part of it. I didn't want to be like somebody that was like just watching it happen. I wanted to be active, and I saw a lot of people on Facebook that were saying stuff, doing stuff. I was having a lot of discussion on there as well, and just arguing with people as usual. And then I actually just this girl that I know, she said that she said, oh, I'm gonna give you a surprise tonight. And then what her surprise was like literally just some poetry that she'd written. And literally at the moment that I was listening to it, it just really inspired me to actually do something too. And I always knew that I could write poetry because I have been doing it this whole time, but I haven't done it for a very long time. And so that was literally just a match. And then since then, I've just had so much energy. Whereas for the last couple of weeks, I've been struggling. I've been working from home, not even been able to focus, not even been able to be productive at work, literally just going through the motion. But I got this surge of energy, and it just renewed for me that I don't want to be somebody that just allows things to happen to me. Like, I want to be active in whatever my destiny, my future, my life is. I don't want to be like a footnote in my story. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be a main character. I have to be on screen. I have to be in the script constantly. And so that's where I am now. But like Natalie said, don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. But that's where I am today.
Wow. That was a lot. And you mentioned something, and it kind of just sent me somewhere else. And I just think, when everything started happening, and I kept saying, even this morning, I was so pissed off. And I said to my husband, and every time the news comes on, it just pees me off more and more, because I think, they're doing it again. You're doing this thing now where, because you don't want the heat to come here, you're talking about race as if it's being tokenistic. You're doing this tokenistic thing again. You're throwing it out. I'm thinking, now I feel like you're speaking down to me, because you're thinking that all these things you're saying is going to make me go, oh my God, look, they're talking about it. My God, there's no racism here. And I just think that's something I think we also need to explore at some point later or another time. Racism here versus racism in America, because I think sometimes, because everything's so visual, the optics in America is very different to here. But for me, and I said this to Junior the other day, I said, but I said I prefer this, because it's out there and you can deal with it and you can address it. Covert racism to me is the worst, because then they mess with your head, because they make you think,
like, you're crazy.
Is this me? Am I throwing the race card? Even that, I think you need to take that shit back.
Yeah.
Because we feel like, oh, I don't want to be, am I really using the race card? And it's my card to use. But it's become negative anyways. I don't want to move the conversation there. Sticking with, how's everyone doing? Thanks, Jody. Haji, you know you're muted, right? Maybe you should just keep yours. Maybe you should just take your mute off, because I feel like you just keep forgetting that you're muted. So.
I keep forgetting that I'm on mute. Well, where do I begin? Before all of this shit kicked off, it had been a really interesting time for me in education. I ended up leaving an oversubscribed school that I was working in Southwark, and I was working under a black head teacher, and I'd been there for about going on 7 years. And I thought, you know, being under a black head teacher, I'm going to get somewhere. Never happened. He would literally promote the white people. White people will be there 2 minutes, and I'll train up these people, and already they've moved on and got senior positions. So I decided to make a big jump, and I moved to New Addington. When I got into this school, it was a huge wake-up call for me. And I think it was a wake-up call that I needed, because I was the only black woman in this school. And at first I was energized, like, yeah, you know, we can change certain things, etc. The school was all like, oh, we're for equality, we're for diversity, and so forth. But then when I started looking at the SLT team, it was nothing but Snow White. Literally white across all borders. For me, diversity is seeing other ethnic minorities included in your team. You talk about, you know, promoting it to the kids and making them have a cultural or capital awareness, because that should be embedded in the curriculum, but you are not promoting it amongst your team. So I ended up meeting up a really cool colleague of mine that we branched out to do something together. And we ended up putting, he introduced me to the world of Twitter. And I think I made a comment because I applied for a post, and the head teacher at the time, I submitted the application to him and I said, can you have a look at it and so forth and etc. And then what he ended up saying to me is, I don't know if you can do all of these things. I said, I beg your pardon. He said, oh, I haven't known you that long. I said, well, when you employed me, did you not look at my application form? Did you not see that I can do all of these things and so forth? To a point where my application was never submitted. So when I ended up calling HR, I said, I haven't heard back anything from you. Oh, your application wasn't submitted. So I said, okay, fine. Left it as that. So I ended up going on Twitter, putting a status out there. I'm, cheesed off. I'm tired of seeing people like Tom, Lucy, and Harry, get the opportunity to climb up the ladder, and I'm still jumping through hoops. Lo and behold, I didn't know that the executive head was following me from my school.
Oh dear.
Called me into the office. My colleague commented as well. He's like, sis, it's the same thing. We do all the work and we never get appreciated for it. I didn't mention any schools. This is my personal experience that I was talking about. Steph, you know how it goes in education. If you're Black, it's 10 times harder for us to get to a certain position.
I hate that statement. It actually pisses me off.
It's the honest truth.
I know, but I hate it.
It's hard, but it's, I'm looking at it and I'm like, if we look at the stats and figures, only 2.7% of BAME teachers are.
I don't care about stats, yeah.
There is not enough of us as head teachers along in the UK, and I don't like it because
we're always teaching assistants or the cleaner or the caretaker.
Why are you not dragging me into this? You know that this is like a hot button. I said let's keep it good today. It's the first one. Why are you not trying to make me? Why do you want me to show my worst behavior on screen? I want people to think I'm good and calm. And I don't want to be tired.
Steph, let's depersonalize.
The real needs to come out.
Yeah, the truth needs to come out, but we can.
This is what it is, though. It's what you see, though. Ask the children; they will tell you. They tell you.
I think that it's an important point, only because, like, it's talking about institutional racism. It's just fine-tuning it to reference a specific, like, what I'm saying, eventuality. But the fact is, institutional racism is rife. It's not just in the schools. It's not just in the justice system. I work in housing, but do you know how long I've been trying to make manager? And do you know how many people have had it before me? And, it's the same. It's institutional racism. So that whiteness qualifies them to get a job because
white privilege. They don't like that word.
You don't even need the experience.
Yeah, because that's what they see, that we got all the experience. We're teaching. I've been training, Steph, you know me. I've been training people that come into my organization for about a year. These people have come into my organization that I've trained, and they've moved on to places that I can't get to. So not that I can't get to, but like I haven't been selected to. Not because I'm not working twice as hard as everybody else, but just because their credibility comes with their color, whereas mine comes with something completely different.
I've been there to a point where I was held back for 3.5, 4 years. My pay was the same. And then I'd see all my white peers jump up and I'll be thinking, hold on, what the hell is going on? Whenever I'd go for my meetings to find out what the outcome would be, my appraisal, you're really good, you've got all of this, blah, 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 but it just wasn't this, it just wasn't that. And I'll be sitting there bawling my eyes out to a point where the deputy head teacher, God bless her, because I still keep in contact with her today, and she's going through shit at her, that place. But she's like, Haji, get it together. Do not let these people get the best of you. She's like, the more you let them see them that they're getting the best of you, that is what they want. They're going to hold you back, but this is now a sign for you to get up and move on. The only reason why I stayed at that current that old workplace was because I was waiting for my daughter to actually get into school. So when I knew that she would be in full-time school, I'll be able to make the move and so forth. But when I got to this school in New Addington and I started to see certain things, and the chief, the executive head pulled me in, she said, I'm in breach of contract. I said, in breach of contract for what? She said, oh, you highlighted certain things, Tom, Lucy and Harry. I said, well, Tom, Lucy and Harry don't work at the school because we ain't got no Tom, Lucy and Harry. Secondly, it doesn't mention the school's name. And 3, this is my personal experience. You need to take it down. You're in breach of contract. I said, but how? It just doesn't put the school in a good light. Anyone could think that it's the school. Then, obviously, I brought up the statement of being a black woman, having to work hard and being the only black woman in the school. It has an impact. That stuff starts to play on your brain because every week I'll come in with a different wig. Oh, is this a new hairstyle? What, you're a different woman? Bitch, you know I'm the only black woman in school. How you asking me if I'm a new woman? Come on. Like, let's be serious. Is this your hair? What not?
Today, not today.
I couldn't do it. So when I ended up taking the Twitter down, before that, she compared being black to having brain surgery. She said, oh, you know, we all go through discrimination. I've had brain surgery, so, you know, I kind of get your pain. I just looked at
brain surgery.
He compared it to being black. And I remember leaving that meeting. I got on the phone to my mum and I broke down. And I broke down in pieces. And I was like, I do not have a voice. I have been silenced. So I was silenced. I was like, this is not the workplace for me. Talk about equality, diversity, and so forth. Not for it. So with the Floyd's death, this has sparked up even more emotions for me. So now I'm the person with fire right now. I'm making shit happen. I'm networking, BayMed. I'm trying to start up a little hub for South London. So teachers have their voice and their opinions for people to listen to, because it's a lot. I'm angry. I'm angry because that could have been my husband. That could have been my nephew. That could have been any one of our brothers. It's a lot.
I hear it. You're hurt. I hear it. B, how are you feeling? What's on top?
Ooh. Well, for me, to be honest, it's been emotional. And I'm normally a very vocal person. But I've not been able to say anything or feel like I'm saying anything that is of substance, if that makes sense. So I'm normally like I'd post and say things, but it's just like seeing that, I just feel like, what can I do? What can be done? Who's listening to us? If I say anything, will I be heard? So that's just me right now, this moment.
That's hard to listen to for me because, as Becky said, very vocal. She's social media. I'm dinosaur age. Like she's always the Twitter finger. It's not me. And this is why I felt like I needed to kind of have us together, because we wouldn't be the only ones feeling like this. So on the Sunday, so I told you on the Saturday, like I literally had the funeral on the Friday, started going through like literally binge watching stuff around the George Floyd situation on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, I was watching some like a Black American church. And when I say I'm just watching different things and just crying, I'm watching grown-ass Black men crying. Like different, like I'm not talking about one clip, just different clips of grown, famous Black men just in tears. And I'm just thinking, and I'm in tears, and I'm thinking, oh my God, am I crying because of I'm kind of mixing up the grief with my grandma? You know, this is what I'm saying. These things make you question yourself. I'm sad. Is this sad? Am I just kind of using it to escape into? Am I trying to avoid my grief? And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I'm genuinely crying because this shit is real. To this sense of when you've lived through something for a long time, you get to where Becky is like, what do I say now? Like, what's going to be different? And even the skepticism for some people, with all the noise that's being made now and all the protests that's happening around the world, is anything going to be different? And I'm going to ask you honestly, do you think this time is different? Honestly, like just instinctively, do you think all the news coverage that we're seeing, not just here in America, but around the world, all the different allies that's now talking up. I was going to do the air quotes, but I figured that, let's be fair. All the different allies that are now becoming very vocal. You guys are trying to trigger me. I see what you're doing, but I'm going to remain calm and cool today. All the different allies, I'm going to be good. I'm going to, bar the swearing, I'm going to keep it together. You're going to be giving me an award at the end of this conversation. All the different allies that are now becoming so vocal, do you think that this time it's going to be different? Do you think when we leap years ahead, we're going to remember 2020 as one of those significant years in race relations and progress?
I think we definitely will remember it.
Yeah.
The thing, why it's different now is the same way what Jody said. What all at a standstill. The world's at a standstill. So all we can do is watch the news, look at our social media. We're working from home, so your life is not the same.
Consumed with it. It's in
So,
your face. You
We're
can't
all the time, and it's in your head.
I think that, I mean, as a historian,
Here we go now. Boom. It's out there. Rolling this story, Jody.
I think that 2020 will definitely be a very significant year. And I think that for race relations, it definitely will be. In terms of, I think that we tend to become really short-sighted when we talk about, like you said earlier, Stephanie, we're talking about change. Everybody wants change, but in reality, nobody knows what change is going to look like. Like I might visualize that it might look this way, but you visualize it to look a different way. So I can't recognize your vision as change when it doesn't match my vision. Okay, so for me, I think it's too final to say it's not going to change anything. It's more a case of looking at the different aspects of society that could potentially change. So, for example, I read in an article today that I think Minneapolis, they have banned chokeholds from their whatever police handbook, whatever. So, like, for example, that's one thing.
I remember at one point this week, I said to myself, ignorance can no longer be an excuse. I'm happy to teach, but I think you don't even need me to teach you. Like, if you want to know, you can find that information.